Hey guys, hope you're doing awesome. It's a beautiful spring day here in Sydney, so I thought I'd do something different. I thought I'd sit outside. It's a beautiful spring afternoon, it's a Saturday, and I want to talk to you about something that's really important. I want to talk to you about a few simple strategies and tactics and habits that I've picked up that have really helped me in my career, and I want to pass them on to you. Let's go. So your career is really important because it gives you your sense of identity. For a lot of people, their job is their primary source of income, and we live in a world that's rapidly changing. There's so much change out there. And so it's really important to stay on top of things and really have a forward-looking mindset. You know, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, when a lot of our parents were growing up, they had one job. Okay, they'd go and join a firm, they'd work their whole life, or they'd go and set up a business. It would be the same business their whole life, and that would be it. But things have changed. We are in the internet age, and there is so much technology out there, and the pace of change has really been ramping up. And so it's very important to continue to upskill and to develop yourself, and to be mindful that there are others competing for your job, there are others competing for your business. There are others in competition with you, and they want you out. So it's a big competition out there, and to really get ahead, you need to be strategic, and you need to think about some of the things that I'll talk about today. They're really important, they're practical, they're not technical, they're really, really basic things, but I guarantee if you put them into place, you'll see a huge impact and a huge benefit, as I've seen and as I've experienced. So the first point is that you need to be strategic and you need to be forward-looking. You need to know what you want to achieve from your job, from your career, or from your business. Very often we fall into something because we've either studied that trade or studied that line of field at university, or whatever it may be. Maybe we've inherited it from our siblings or our family, and we just go about making money, paying our bills, doing odd things here and there. And very rarely do you sit down and think about your goals, your long-term goals, what you really want to achieve. And that's really important, and I want to share a personal experience with you. Very early on, I knew that I wanted to start my own business. So when I started working in finance and investments, I knew one day I wanted to set up my own business. And that was always the guiding principle for me. Everything that I did, I had that long-term goal that I'm making this decision because one day I want to set up my own business, and I'm either learning, I'm building relationships, I'm working really hard so that I might know or find business opportunities. Everything for me was around that. And for you, it might be different. For you, it might be, to be number one in your field, to be somebody who's really skilled in a particular area. Not everybody needs to be right at the top. Leaders are backed by so many qualified staff. It's their team that really makes a difference. You might want to be the number one hairdresser or the number one carpenter, or someone that's built the most beautiful house in that suburb that stands there for the next 50 or 100 years. Your goals are your goals. But why they're important to develop is because during your life, during your work life and your business life, you'll always run into shit. There's always going to be those days where your customer's pissing you off, your boss is pissing you off, somebody is doing something to you, and being grounded on your goals and on your long-term plan is really important because it helps you deal, manage, and move on. If you don't really know where you're going, you always fall into the trap of not being happy at your job, not being happy in your business, not being happy generally with where your life is going and where your career is going. So know exactly where you want to go. I remember interviewing for a role at Bloomberg. Bloomberg is one of the largest finance organizations in the world. And at the time, it was a really important role for me. I knew I wanted to eventually set up my own business. But I had a young family, I had 2 children, we'd just bought a house, so there was a lot of debt there. There was investments that had debt on them, And here was this awesome role. It was really a career-defining role. And I remember I went through the whole interview process. It went really well, and the last interview was with the head in New York. And he asked me a question. He said, where do you see yourself in 10 years? You know, the standard, can't remember if it was exactly that, but the standard, where do you see yourself question, which I hate. And I said to him, I want to be running my own business. And it was contrary to what he wanted to hear. He didn't want to hear that. He wanted to hear someone being loyal, someone being dedicated to the job. But the truth was the truth. I always had that in me. And I didn't end up getting that job. And it was a huge corporate executive role. It would have had a lot of responsibility, came with a huge amount of money, but I didn't get it. And yesterday, here we are a few years later, yesterday I was interviewed on Bloomberg as a guest on television. And they call me every month. And I'm running my own business now, and I'm actually sitting on the other side where the Bloomberg staff actually interview me and get my insights. And so that's just an example of how at times the hard decisions, the important decisions and the right decisions are hard. But if you don't have that clarity, if you don't have that vision and goal, it'll be very difficult to make them. So make sure you know exactly where you want to go. That's point number one. Point number two is stop watching the news. The news is full of crap. I've made a habit very early on in my career. I don't watch the news. I try my hardest not to watch the news. It's addictive, right? And we fall into the trap of watching the nightly news or listening to the news on the radio or reading newspapers. But it is a lot of disruption, and it doesn't really add much value to your life. It's important to know what's happening around the world, but to an extent, you don't need to continue to consume that every single day. The news is filled with a lot of negative information. And what that negative information does, when you consume that every single day, it turns you into a negative person. When you become a negative person, you don't develop the self-belief that you need to maintain those goals and to work really hard. And you fall into the trap of worrying about things that are outside of your circle of influence, things that are outside of your control. You know, what's happening in a certain country, and bombings and terrorism and all that. It's important to know and be aware of it, but you don't need to hear about that every single day, because that really breaks you, and that really puts you in a negative mindset, and you take that negative mindset with you to work, and you become negative, and your peers find you negative, and your business doesn't grow, and your career doesn't grow. So don't read the news if it's not necessary. Break that habit. It sounds very small and it's very trivial, but I guarantee you, if you stop it and you start substituting the news for something else, read something else, watch something else that's productive and adds value, you'll see a big difference. Social media is now part of our life. This is the third point. You can't avoid Facebook. Okay, you're probably watching this because you saw a Facebook post, or you're watching this on YouTube, or listening to this on a podcast. Social media is part of our lives. This is always within a few centimeters of me. I can't break the habit, and the whole world is moving that way. And so what my advice is, tailor your social media feeds and your connections and what you see to remove negativity. What I'm seeing a lot on social media is spectator critics, people that fall into this trap of just complaining about everything. You know, how bad their meal was, how bad the traffic is, or how bad the refereeing was on the game that they watched, or how bad the movie or their job, or just this constant negativity, complaining habit that I find in society. And try your best to remove that from your feeds. You don't have to unfriend people, but what I do is I unfollow. So they might be excellent people, I might love them very much, but I hate seeing the negativity that they spew. And what happens is when you have 3, 4, 5, 1,000, 100, 1,000 people on your feed, that just compounds to you every day, and you're consuming it all your time. So start following people that actually add value. Start following feeds, start using social media to inspire you, to motivate you, to help you build determination. Really important stuff. Okay, you can't get rid of social media. Some people will say get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. Use it to your advantage and use it as a weapon. listen to podcasts that will help you in your career, people that know stuff, people that have done shit, people that have actually achieved in your field, people that want to help you. Invest in yourself, go out there and find courses and learning modules. And your career, if your primary source of income is coming from your career, that's where you want to be investing. That's where you want to go and put some money in, rather than going and wasting money on stupid crap. So tweak your social media. I found it very, very useful. It may or may not work for you, but it's just a little piece of advice. Number 4, and this is the final point, work hard. Work your ass off. As human beings, we are capable of so much. Our physiology and neurology is capable of so much, and we underestimate ourselves. It's Saturday today. I took my family out, but I came back and I had to record this. I want to work hard. I want to work on Sundays. I want to work every single day, push my hardest, because it's my passion, because this is what I love doing. And to me, it's not work. To me, it's just effort that's important, that I know will get a result. If one person watches this or listens to this and gets a benefit, for me, I've won. For me, it's an advantage. So just be mindful of that you need to work hard. You need to continue to push yourself. Don't fall into the trap of becoming lazy. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you're overworked. There's no such thing as overworked. If you're overworked, if you're working really hard and not getting that benefit or not getting that return, find somewhere else to work. Find somebody who appreciates that. There's plenty of work out there. There are plenty of organizations and companies that want you. Okay, they want someone that's working really hard. So it's hard to find another job. It's hard to find another business. If you're in business and you're working on a customer that doesn't appreciate you, find other customers. Change the way you structure your business. Change your cost or your revenue structure. But continue to work hard. Don't fall into the trap of slackening off. And guys, they're my 4 tips. Do these things, and I guarantee that you'll see an instant improvement in your career. It's all about discipline. It's all about having the right way of thinking. It's about working really hard. It's about being strategic in where you want to go. It's about removing negativity from your life, and it's about adding positive influences into your life. I hope you find this useful. If you try these strategies and they work for you, let me know. I'd love to hear back from you. This content is all for you guys. And kill it. Go out there, be really, really motivated. Try really hard and have the confidence that you can achieve and that you will do really well. It's your career. You make the most out of it. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Remember to register and subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Podcast on iTunes. Hit the app, Peter Esho Podcast. You won't have a problem finding it. We're hitting more and more platforms. We're doing more and more of these podcasts every single week. Take care and good luck.